Thank you for tuning in to the best parenting show on the internet, Post Daily Dose.
It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post.
Hey, good evening, Facebook family. Welcome to another episode of Post Daily Dose with me, your trusted parenting advisor, faithful guide and servant on the healing journey. What's my name? Big Papa Brian+Post. Hope everyone is doing fantastic on this wonderful Wednesday. Always takes me just a moment. So hope you've had a good Wednesday. I thought today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about turtling teens. So that's those teenagers who, instead of becoming hyper-aroused in their feelings, hey, there's Mimi, they become hyper-aroused and they shut down. I just had a parent mentioning it today, actually earlier, with a 16-year-old who, when he becomes stressed, he shuts down. And a lot of times parents feel quite helpless with that dynamic. And here's the thing, and I always kind of talk about that child as being akin to a turtle, because it reminded me when I was a kid growing up, I would walk out in the front yard and occasionally there'd be a turtle going across the front yard, and I'd immediately want to run in and pick the turtle up and like, we're going to be best friends and this is going to be great. And then what would the turtle do? He'd just go into a shell. And so, children are pretty smart and pretty quick. And so I'd put the turtle down and then I'd just wait. And I would wait and I would wait and I would wait. And eventually he'd come back out and I would get down on the ground over the top of him. He'd come out and he'd look around and eventually he'd start, coming out of his shell and he'd start walking. And I might say a little something in a really quiet voice really fast and he'd freeze. And then he would keep walking, and I would keep walking beside him, and I'd talk to him a little bit more, and pretty soon I'm in a normal voice, and pretty soon I'm rubbing his shell, and pretty soon we're best friends, and I'm like, hey, it's me, Brian, we're going to be friends forever. I'm going to take you to the fair, and we're going to win the race and win the $5 in the cake. And he would just be, doing this. Well, your teenagers are the same way. Some of your teenagers and some of your smaller children. It's stress. When stress sets in, their anxiety dials down their responses, so they go into their shell. The problem and the biggest challenge is that typically makes us feel helpless as parents. And so when we start feeling helpless, what we want to do is we want to start trying to connect more. And into trying to connect more, what we actually end up doing is elevating the stress. And so it's so important when you have a teenager whose reaction to stress is to shut down, that you actually back up. So they shut down, you back up. Because you backing up is actually helping them to feel less overwhelmed. And it's giving them less sensory experience. And when they shut down and you back up, it gives them the freedom not to have to keep constricting and harder. And so one of the things I like to suggest to parents is learn how to be present with your child without having to say anything. Learn how to be present. And that's just showing up. That's being in their space. Because if they're shutting down, they're usually ignoring you. They're not paying attention to you anyway, or at least you think they're not, but really they are. But when you can learn to just be present and be in their space, that makes a big difference, because then all of a sudden they'll start to relax, and they'll start to relax in your presence. And when they start to relax in your presence, they'll usually start to engage in some kind of small way. When they start to engage in that small way, that's when you give them a little bit of feedback. They'll engage a little bit more. You give them a little bit more feedback. And before long, you're having a conversation. The other thing that's really useful is to engage them in ways that feel most comfortable to them. We are adults. We like to talk. We talk far too much. But we like to talk, and so we think our teenagers want to talk to us, and they're really not that interested in talking to us. But if you want to connect with your child, what you've got to do is connect with them on their terms. Connect with them around the things that feel good to them. And here's the thing. You may connect with them around video games. You may connect with them around what's the latest goofy video on TikTok, or what's going on some YouTube video that they might watch. But then it's the connection that's important. It's the familiarity, the association, the relationship that becomes important. And then they start to get a little bit more relaxed. And as they get more relaxed, then you can start to venture into other points of communication. So with your teenagers that have a tendency to isolate, try to challenge yourself to get more present with them. Just, even if it's sitting on the outside of their room. That's one of the first things I had a parent do years ago. Had them sit on the side of their outside of their teenager's room and just knock on the door and say, hey, I'm out here. And commit to 10 minutes of just being out there, just being present. We discount physiology. We discount the power of vibration when it comes to the influence that we can have on our children. Why do you think people pray for other people? When you pray for someone, you're actually sending a vibration in their direction, a loving vibration of support and encouragement, understanding, inspiration. That's why we pray. Sitting outside of your child's room and thinking positive thoughts, praying, meditating, whatever it may be, what it's doing is it's changing the vibration that is being created in the energy of the exchange. So don't discount the power of silence. Honor it, recognize it, recognize how strong it can truly be. So, hope that's helpful. I actually said in the title, other or sundry things. I really don't have anything more to say. I think I'm good. I've got a training coming up with my Post Parenting certified coach people. And so I think I'm just going to go ahead and get ready and focus on that. And I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks for joining in with Big Papa on this wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Remember, in any given situation, we always have two choices. We can continue to react from stress, fear, and overwhelm, or we can stop, we can slow down, take 3 to 10 deep breaths, and we can choose love. God bless you. Big Papa loves you. We'll see you tomorrow.